There's a huge crowd behind me to welcome home our Australian Paralympic team. I'm going to go chat to some of the athletes. But before that, let's hear from two of the dignitaries who were there to welcome home the athletes. Federal Sports Minister Anika and the Prime Minister. Anika, I just wanted to start by asking just what you thought about the whole Paralympic Games and just getting to see these amazing athletes.
It's brilliant. I think para sport, there's so many levels to it. There's obviously the athletes, the performance that they give, there's the story that sits behind that, but there's also some really interesting stuff about innovation, Australian manufacturing, the tech that they bring, and then the strategy that they use around their assistants, the support team, the pilots, the guides. So there's so many elements to para sport that make it fascinating.
What we've seen is so many athletes achieve extraordinary outcomes, but everyone has done their best. So Vanessa Lowe, in breaking her own world record with the first jump that she did, but she equalled it a bit later on as well. And she jumped on an earlier plane to come home. But they will inspire female athletes, but athletes throughout Australia. There'll be young people who've watched the Paralympics and thought to themselves, I reckon I might be able to compete in Brisbane 2032. That's a great thing.
And there are so many young kids with disabilities here, with in wheelchairs here, which has been really inspiring, something that I've noticed. And I guess it must be really amazing to know that they're not just inspired by these athletes because of their achievements, but also because they're great people and like what they stand for.
Absolutely, it's about who they are. So just as Louise Savage inspired and led to a whole lot of these athletes thinking, I'm going to have a crack at that, this generation will inspire some of the young people who are here to welcome their heroes home.
Speaking of Vanessa Lowe, I chatted to the now triple Paralympic champion long jumper. Vanessa Lowe, I've just got to start. World record and a gold medal. Like, how do you even begin to look back on these last couple of weeks?
Oh, the last game's been once in a lifetime experience, and when I stepped onto the stage, like before my first jump, I just loved every second of it. I loved how the crowds were just like bringing all that energy into the stadium. I loved having my family there, and I loved like the moment. It was almost like a flashback of what the last 3 years has been since Tokyo, of becoming a mum and stepping out onto the stage as a young mum, and I loved every second of it. And obviously it was amazing to get the world record and the gold, but I think just being there was like the biggest of all, and I think that's why it made it so special for me.
Yeah, and like you said, you had your little kid and also your husband now turned coach there as well. Like, you've won previous gold medals at Paralympics, but how did this one like compare to those ones?
I think this one was a once in a lifetime, and having won medals before, they're all special in their own rights, but this time around being able to do that with my little family, with the people that truly matter to me, I knew that if I was to come home and it wasn't a medal at all, like I was going to be embraced the exact same way. And I think that's what gave me the calmness and the peace on the day that allowed me to jump so big.
And I've heard you say that since having your kid Mateo, it almost gave you like a second life to come back and like compete, but have there been many challenges that you've had to face, like going to training but also like looking after your little kid?
It was definitely a different set of challenges this time around, and I throw a little human into the mix. Like, they determine like how your life looks like, and anytime you make plans, like they have a good way of throwing it over and having their own little ways. But I learned a lot over the last few years, and one of the major things that really led me to being on top of my game is just to go with the flow a lot more, and being able to embrace the chaos and the messy home and like all the chaotic moments that really don't align with my sporting schedule, but being able just to really do what I love and like focus on chipping away on the things that I know get me closer to my goal, while also making sure I find the balance between being an athlete and being a mum at the same time. I think that's why I found that really good balance, and that's why I competed so well.
Next up, hear from two paracycling back-to-back champs, Emily Petricola and then Amanda Reid. Have you actually had time to kind of like let it sink in?
Not remotely, because we went straight from track to road, like there was a total change in focus, and then it was just about actually getting back and starting that process. So now that I'm home, I feel like I'll have some time to let it sink in and actually just stare at the medal a little bit.
And I guess, like you said, you went from track to road, so you just won a Paralympic gold medal, and then you had to go focus on another race. Like, was it easy for you to kind of adjust and focus on the other one?
It sort of was, because I always knew that was going to be the plan. So we had that sort of set up, and then it was just an unfortunate day on the time trial day for me.
And you've won a Paralympic gold medal before, you've won a silver, but this one looked like it meant a lot to you. Like, was it any different? And I guess if it was, like, how was it?
Honestly, it was, I can't even, like, I've got goosebumps now just thinking about it, like about how different it was, and it's really hard to articulate the difference in the feeling of the emotion this time around, and having people there that you love and who've seen you go through all of these real hardships, to then see you rise up, especially off the back of the last 3 years, to be able to walk away with this is pretty unbelievable.
And like you said, like you got to have your family there. Like I was tearing up watching you cry. Like it was just so emotional. Like what was the feeling like when you actually got to like just go run over to your family like afterwards?
Oh, that was the best part. Like honestly, when I saw them walk in at the start of the day, I didn't know 100% if they were going to come. They only confirmed the day before that they were flying over from London, and so when I saw them come in, I just sat there with a big smile on my face, and I thought it doesn't even matter. The result absolutely doesn't matter today. Like having them here watching me do whatever I do, that's a win.
It was so sweet when I think you're like nieces, nephews, like they were crying afterwards. But
yeah, little Benji, like I say little Benji, he's not that little anymore, but like he's a really special little boy for me. So for him to be like so proud that he was crying so much, you know, it was awesome.
And just like the whole experience as well, like it was very different this time around. Tokyo, obviously lockdown. Like what was your favourite part of this time that you couldn't do at Tokyo?
I honestly think the track competition was unbelievable. Like just in terms of you walk in, there was a big light show at the start of the session, and it actually felt like it was something really different. Like Glasgow last year doing the able-bodied combination event, that was big, but it was different to this. This was a whole different thing. And it really felt like it was something really spectacular and special.
Congratulations on everything, Amanda. I just wanted to like start by asking like how you actually like have you like taken the time to just reflect on these games yet and like what you achieved?
Oh, I definitely haven't had the time yet to reflect on winning my gold medal and going back-to-back golds. I think over the next couple of weeks I'll reflect on how well I did and start enjoying the moment a bit more.
And I guess like you came in as the defending champion from Tokyo, and you also had the world champs in March, and you won those. So how are you actually feeling like coming into the games?
I was feeling a little bit nervous. I had a few injuries leading in, and in the staging camp fell off my bike. So I was like, I didn't know what was going to happen. So I just came in with an open mind and just went, it will be what it will be, and it happened to go back-to-back golds.
How did you kind of deal with like those like just minor like injuries and expectations? Like were there like any worries that like you wouldn't be able to compete?
I just ended up just going, well, I'm here, so I just need to enjoy and just do the best I can.
And obviously this gold medal would mean a lot to you, but you won a lot. You know, you've broken world records, you won many medals, 13 world champs, I think. So I just want to know, like, what keeps you, like, want to just keep achieving more? Like, you've already, like, won so many medals.
I just like to win, and I like to show the rest of, like, everybody else with disabilities that you can do stuff if you put your mind to it and you can achieve what you want in your dreams.
Yeah. And like you said, it's so important there are people like you with a disability that are like there, like inspiring people. And also like as an Indigenous athlete, I think you're the most successful Australian Indigenous Paralympian, which is a pretty big honour. Like what does it mean to you to be able to be that?
Oh, it's just an amazing opportunity, especially to be one of the most successful ones, Indigenous athletes, and just to support younger and up-and-coming Indigenous disabled athletes is just, incredible.
Another of Australia's gold medalists was Nikki Ayers, one half of the history-making mixed pairs double sculls. Getting gold in the double sculls, like it feels like you've come so far since the last Paralympic Games, which was your debut as well. Like, what does this medal just actually mean?
For me, this medal is just like hope. You know, it's never giving up on your dreams, and it's for every person with a disability, like every child out there who wishes to grow up and wear the green and gold, don't give up. Sometimes your dreams change, and for me, it's just overcoming that adversity and making the positive out of the worst situations that life's thrown at me, and now I have a gold medal to show for that.
Yeah, and you've also won Australia's first ever rowing Paralympic gold medal, which is a pretty big achievement. Like, what does that title mean?
Yeah, it's really awesome. It's amazing. That's written in the history books. It's never going to be taken away from Jed and I think that's a huge honour. I think the last 12 months have been very hard for us both, personally and sporting-wise, and to win world champs and come in with the pressure, it just shows that as athletes we're able to cope with the pressure and do what we need to and come home with the win, and just having that title and always going to be that in the history books is amazing. And it's hopefully people will look at us and be like, I want to be like Nikki, I want to be like Jed, and go win a gold medal for Australia.
And I think you've known Jed for quite a while as well, but you only really paired up kind of like semi-recently. Like, how did you, was it really hard to learn to work together pretty fast?
No, not really. So we first met in 2017, and then we got selected in March last year at the Australian Trials, and then so I moved to Adelaide in May last year, so we've only been rowing together since May, but in between 2017 and that, Jed and I had a friendship outside of rowing, and so we would catch up outside of that, and it was quite easy. Once we got in the boat, we both knew we wanted to do this and go for gold, so we were both willing to be vulnerable and make it a safe space and have those hard conversations about what we think individually we can do better, as a crew we can do better, and also always focusing on the positives, what we were doing well. So we both came into open mind, and that's what I think was the key to success.
Yeah, and now obviously the games are over and like you've got a bit of time off now, but I think you're also a nurse, so do you kind of go back to your job straight away or do you get a bit of time?
No, I'm going to have a bit of time off, but I've been working the whole time until we got back from World Cup in June, July, so working at the hospital doing shift work, so doing night shifts as well. So yeah, it's busy, so I'm just going to have some time off, hang with the family and see what's next.
Also making history in Paris was bocce's Jamieson Leeson. Jam, I just wanted to start by saying congrats. Just how was Paris just in general? Like, what was it like being over there?
Oh, thank you. Yeah, it was an incredible trip, one of my favourite trips so far. Yeah, I mean, result of a silver medal was incredible, but France is an amazing city and country, and Paris was amazing, and I think just to be there and be a part of the Australian Paralympic team was an honour once again.
Yeah, and like you also made history becoming the first Australian Paralympian to win a medal in bocce. A silver medal in bocce, which is like a pretty big achievement. Like, what does that title actually mean, like when you get to think about it?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I guess in terms of Australia, just getting the word out about bocce and getting more people into the sport is something that I've been passionate about for a long time, and hopefully the silver medal will play a role in that. But then I guess to play a part in you being one of the first female medalists once it split from that mixed gender to being female and male split. So I think that it's paving the way for female inclusion in the sport of bocce, and to be a part of that is a very special part of me.
Yeah, and I've noticed like a lot of young kids here today, and also like kids with disability, hopefully like watching you and all of the other athletes and being inspired. Like, do you think you've seen a lot of that, just kids being inspired by all of the athletes at the Paralympics?
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's to have kids here today and got lots of lovely messages in the village from school kids back here in Australia. So yeah, feeling all the love and support from all the kids all over Australia.
I wanted to ask about, like, right after you won the silver, you had to go compete in the quarter with Dan. Like, was it a bit hard to like refocus kind of after you just won a medal and you wanted to celebrate? Like, what was it like after that?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, didn't get our medals till I think 10:30 one night, and then the next morning we had a game in the pairs, starting the pairs event. So yeah, we didn't really get to, I guess, soak in the medals until we'd finished in the pairs, which was a bit difficult, and we were exhausted by the end of it. But yeah, I think especially being here today and being home now, I'm able to enjoy it a bit more.
I think you've got to do a bit of celebrating as well. I think I saw like a picture of you at Disneyland or something. Like, was it just cool going around and celebrating with like Jazz as well?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, we had a few days after comp finished. We were able to go out and celebrate. Yeah, we went to Disneyland, Moulin Rouge, had lots of fun, and of course we took our medals with us.
I think when I chatted to you like at the start, like Jasmine really wanted to go see the Eiffel Tower, and you wanted a croissant. Like, did you get all that done?
Of course, yes, we did. We went to the Eiffel Tower on the first day we were there, pretty much. So yeah, it ticked it off the bucket list pretty quickly.
The croissants, like, were they as good as you hoped for? Like, were they good?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. Plenty of croissants and fresh baguettes in the village, and it was delicious.
They sound amazing. You're making me hungry now. And I just wanted to ask last, like, what's kind of like next for you? Like, do you have like a lot of competitions that you're competing in kind of semi like soon, or do you just take a bit of time off and like focus on studies now?
Yeah, so I mean, for the rest of the year, I'm just focusing on studies pretty much. But going into next year, we've got our regional championships in Thailand, which is a qualifier for the World Championships in 2026. So that's our main focus for now on. But yeah, take a bit of time off between now and then.
Now let's hear from some of the athletics team. First up, bronze medal winning best friends Dayna, Crees and Madi Lovell. I'm going to ask about you two winning your bronze medals on the same day as well. Like, what did it mean to do it? And like, when did you actually find out like about each other?
Yeah, so Marley had her final in the morning and I was competing at night, and I had to also prepare myself for my own event, but she was running at midday and I was like, you know what, I'm going to stay up, I'm going to watch this. Like, I was like, I need to have a nap, but I'm going to go watch her first. I was downstairs. Once I saw her cross the line in third, I started crying. I was so happy for her. And then it wasn't until Marley was getting her medal just as I finished competing, and we saw each other, we crossed paths, and I said, oh my God, I won bronze too, and she just got her medal, and I think we just hugged, and I think that was probably my favourite part of the games, was just seeing each other after she just got her medal, I got mine, and it was just, yeah, pretty special.
Like, Marley, how did you feel as well, like when you actually like realised that she'd won the bronze?
I was like, oh my God, we're actually like bronze besties. it was just a really cool moment. Yeah.
I'm assuming you two you've both grown up like doing athletics. I think you actually started doing like kind of 100 and 200 races, but like how did you actually end up like meeting and like becoming such good friends?
Believe it or not, only last year at the World Champs last year, Marley was sitting in the dark in the physio room and there was a light switch behind her, and I said, oh, you know there's a light switch here, and I turned it on for her, and honestly the rest is history. Like, we became so close so quickly. Like, yeah, it was awesome.
Have you been able to like just like motivate each other and like support each other? Like, is that something you've been able to do like just in the village and like actually on the days of like competing?
Oh yeah, we're together 24/7. Yeah, I love being with her. It's so good.
It's good that you've got like such a good relationship. And I just wanted to ask again, like you two are both so young and it's like only your first games. Like, do you have to just like go back to just, like normal life now and just like go do normal things?
Pretty much. I left my job before I came over here to prepare for myself for the game, so now I'm like, oh my gosh, I have to go look for another job now and do all that. But I think having a couple of weeks off, just get back into reality, soak this whole experience in, and then eventually get back into the swing of things, have about a month off training. But yeah, back again and prepare for LA in 4 years' time.
Next, it's teenage shot put star Ella Hose. How much confidence do you get from like doing so well in your first games? Like, do you have a lot of confidence for like the next games trying to qualify?
Well, I'm only 19, so I'm pretty happy, to have come forth with a PB and Australian record at my first games. Definitely gives me a lot of confidence for the next games, hoping to make the podium, and then hopefully in Brisbane I'll be able to try and win the event, because I'll be 27 then, so hopefully I'll be getting up there.
It's so crazy when you say it. It's like only 8 years away.
I know, it's actually not that far away when you think about it,
It'll come up very soon, I'm sure, but I wanted to ask you, you've got a twin sister as well. Like, did you just get like all of the athletic genes, or like what happened?
We both grew up doing sport. She's also got cerebral palsy, so we both did para-athletics. I eventually went on to do it at a more competitive level, whereas she just kind of enjoyed doing it for the participation. We both she always picked the running events and I always picked the throwing events. So it was like we didn't want to compete against each other because we were quite competitive. So we always kind of found our own niche avenues in the sport. I'd say both of us really enjoyed doing it growing up together.
Was that like the reason why you picked the throwing events, or did they like interest you for like another reason? Just wanted to not be your sister?
No, I literally, because she was really good at it, so I was like, I'll pick my own way. But running was really difficult for me. I had a lot of injuries even when I first started, so throwing was always like, I just felt like I was a natural at it, and I wasn't in any pain when I did it, so it was just kind of like another way for me to participate in sport. So
it's good that's worked out. And like you said, you're like still like really young, and I feel like we hear like a lot of like para athletes saying there weren't as many like pathways when they were younger. But has it been like really good for you, like just coming through like sports?
Yeah, it's been so awesome. I feel like I've had so much support from Athletics Australia and Paralympics Australia over the years. The way they've helped develop athletes into elite athletes is really awesome, and I think our team has got a lot of young people, particularly in the athletics. There's lots of people who are under the age of 21, which is really awesome to see. So many debutants are so young. Like, it's just really encouraging to know that there's a whole group of people that are coming into the elite level of the sport.
I also caught up with one of the Dolphin swim team leaders, Lakeisha Patterson. I feel like the Australian Paralympic team, and especially like swim team, is that really close together? Like, why do you think there's like such a bond like in the Australian swim team?
Yeah, I think it's definitely grown a lot over the past few years, and I mean, we spend a lot of time with one another. We've spent the past month living and breathing and pursuing this dream together. So I think it's really great because we had that bond and that shared experience of what one another is going through. We're able to support one another because we know what it takes to get there, and we're able to motivate someone if they're feeling down, and to push for more as well. So I think it really shows in our performances when we come together what we can achieve together, and then obviously being broader like at the Paralympic Games, like with the wider Australian team as well. Everyone just comes together, has a chat with anyone, and it's just really special to be a part of.
It feels like everyone's just like supporting each other, and like for you to win your like 8th Paralympic medal, like from these games, like could you pick you won so many medals, but could you pick like a specific highlight from the game, like whether it was in the pool or like out of the pool?
Yeah, I think from this games, obviously my 400 was a really special moment, and I think for me that came with a lot of different emotions, but it was really sweet after my race, just seeing everyone really get behind me and support me no matter what the outcome was, and just seeing everyone do that for literally every single athlete. It's just phenomenal, and it makes you feel really loved that no matter what, it doesn't, these medals, our success, our outcome in our sport doesn't define who we are as people. We're athletes first and foremost, but behind our disabilities, and everyone can see what we can do rather than what we can't, and everyone on the team knows that we're going through obstacles, but we're showing up every single day. So to be able to showcase that to the world, that no matter what challenge you are facing, you can still achieve amazing things. That doesn't have to be in sport, but in life in general. And when you have people behind you that are willing to invest in you and support you to help make that dream possible is just even better.
Yeah, I think it's such an important message, and like for you being like a co-captain of the team, like how important is it like for you to be able to like spread those messages and like just like kind of lead the others?
Yeah, it is super humbling, and I think, you know, I've been doing this for a very long time now and being on the Australian swim team for 10 years, and I don't necessarily see myself as the leader, and I think, you know, you don't need a title to be a leader, and every single person within our team is a leader in their own way, but to be able to, I guess, share my experiences and hope that helps someone else just starting out, and, you know, I'm still learning things every single day as well, and even rookies are teaching me different things, and to live in the moment and enjoy the present and little things like that is really helpful, and I think we all benefit from one another, and it's really awesome to be able to share this and kind of hopefully leave a legacy beyond my time in the pool.
Just quickly about the pool again. You've won medals back to back to back, which is just a huge achievement to, I guess, stay successful for that long. Like, do you think there's like a particular reason why you've been able to like just stay consistent over such a long period of time?
Thank you. I think it definitely doesn't get easier, that's for sure. You have to work 10 times harder. The rest of the world is getting more competitive. But I think for me to go this long is just because I've had such incredible support around me from my friends and family, and particularly my coach as well. I've travelled around with him and he's stuck by my side, and, you know, even on the days where I might be doubting myself or going through certain challenges, he doesn't give up on me and finds new, different approaches and unique ways to training to keep it, you know, adaptive and fun. And I think, yeah, also being able to, I guess, remind myself of why I'm doing what I'm doing and reflecting on that on the days that it gets really tough, I guess helps ignite that fire to want to keep going and to strive for more, and just kind of just pushing myself to see what I can truly achieve is kind of what keeps me going.
Para archer Ameera Lee defeated a former world champion in her Paralympics debut. I asked Ameera about her Paris experience. Ameera just got back from Paris, like how are you feeling?
Amazing, you know, it's so nice to be back home, but at the same time it's sad to leave. As everyone knows, I was looking forward to catching up with international archers and people we've done all of the route, if you will, on international competitions, and we all caught up and it was great, and, you know, I just want to go back and do it all over again.
Yeah, I was going to say, I saw you like posting just in the lead up lots of photos with athletes from all over the world. Like, have you learned a lot from just chatting to them? Like,
always learning, so and it's incredible. You have all the different sports, and predominantly the photos were taken with archers, but you know, anyone that I could catch up with, it's so beautiful to see all the unity, all the different countries, and everyone's united, and it was just amazing.
Yeah. And in terms of your actual competition though, I think you'd be one of the best in the world, which is pretty amazing. Like, how much confidence do you get from like performing so well, I guess, at your first game?
Oh gosh, I guess from that standpoint, we're always self-critical, and it's about what you can do better next time and where you can make the improvements. So I'm still continuing to move forward, and as soon as I get my bow back, hopefully in the next week, I'm heading straight back into training. So we do have the World Championships next year, so working up for that already.
Yeah, that's pretty soon, it's coming up. But how do you think you actually, like, were you happy with your performance over in Paris, like how you did?
I'm very happy with my performance in terms, I mean, we can always do better, but I went in to just follow process. So archery is it's a mind, it's very mental, it's a mental game. So you just have to have the physicality and the process you have to follow. But I'm happy. I've walked away, or relatively, I've rolled away following process. So I'm very happy with that.
And finally, hear from Madi de Rozario, who came away with 2 medals in her 5th games. Madi, it's been a big 2 weeks, I'm sure. Very tiring, but also fun. Like, how are you feeling now?
Exhausted, to be honest, but good. I'm really happy to be home, but also really happy with how the last 2 weeks went.
Yeah. I just got to ask, just quickly before we get any further, about the flag bearing at the start. You found a way to hold it. I'm very proud.
Oh my goodness, you should have seen Brendan and I trying to plan that in the moments leading up to it, and everything we had went out the window. We had all these plans where I was going to carry it for the first little bit, then he was going to take over as we hit the trickier parts of the road. I think we both got so overwhelmed by the crowds and the feeling of getting to lead your team out into the venue that we kind of just left it, and I had the flag on me the whole time, and it worked out beautifully. Like, it was a really wonderful experience, and so it turns out not as scary as I thought it was going to be.
It was right next to it, so you were basically both holding it.
That's it. That's what we're telling each other. Yeah, exactly.
It was great. But I want to ask about like the actual opening ceremony. Like obviously, like on TV, like we could hear the commentary and everything, but it just looked like a really amazing like performances they were doing. Like, what was it like to be a part of it?
It was. We don't get to see a lot of it, unfortunately, because we kind of walk in at the very end, and as we go into that, we're all sort of like corralled outside. Like, I reckon we left the village because we were the third last team to march as the opening ceremony was probably starting. So we don't actually see a lot of it, but it's unreal to hear it from the outside of the, you know, of the venue, and it was unreal to get to walk in. And we were actually, because it was a bit of a loop, so the camera was on us like 100 meters, and then we continued around. When we were on this side, the French team was walking in, so we were still in that little loop as like the music changed and the lights changed, and it got so intense so quickly. So it was really cool to get to be in it.
It was almost good that you got stuck there because you got a bit.
I'm not upset about it. It was very exciting.
And I'm just gonna ask as well, because I know you had some like bad news kind of on the day of the opening ceremony. But I just wanted to know, like, are you alright? Like, how did you are you alright to like process the news and everything?
Yeah, it was bad timing. That's for sure. But also, you know, I think it was a tricky phone call to get, for sure. But I had initially, I think your intention is always that you fly home after receiving news like that, and I think I was trying to process the grief of, you know, my father, as well as of not being able to turn up and do what I, you know, spent 3 years trying to, you know, plan for. And when I spoke to my sisters, their immediate response was that, you know, I stay and I race and I come home, you know, when I'm done. And I think that was an enormous relief to kind of almost have permission to get to finish what I was doing, you know, in Paris, and then get to come home and not, you know, miss out on either of those things. And so that was really nice to have a family that was so comfortable with allowing me the space I needed to do what I needed to do.
So I guess like after that, like did the medals, like did they have a bit of like extra meaning, like kind of getting to actually like do that?
Yeah, I think it does. You know, it certainly throws a lot of things into perspective. I think, you know, as athletes, we spend a long time trying to separate our identity, you know, as athletes from, you know, who we are as people, from the sport, and none of us do it very well. You've met so many of us, and none of us do it very well, and something like this really forces you to be a person first, and I think to, you know, and I loved that marathon more than I really loved any other race. I think I knew I was really doing what I loved, and that it does put things into perspective, and I think it's quite an overwhelming feeling trying to defend, you know, a Paralympic gold medal, and to know that the likelihood of being able to do it is quite slim. Like Catherine's, you know, in a field of her own at the moment, and so, you know, that's quite a daunting thought typically. But I think, you know, Paris, it was a gorgeous morning, the crowds were wonderful, and it was a really fun race. I think almost that reason, because I had, I think, a lot more perspective.
I was getting like FOMO, like watching on TV. I was like, I wish I was there, but it did look pretty amazing.
We'll have to get you over for LA in the media department.
Yeah, LA, that's the goal. Hopefully I can go over there. But I wanted to ask about like some of the other Australian athletes, and I remember chatting to you at the flag bearer announcement, and you were saying like how you felt like kind of like a proud mum, just like watching all of them. And then you have like so many young athletes like in athletics as well, a sport that you obviously know really well. Like how awesome was it to see girls like that doing so well?
Oh, it's unbelievable. Lovell, who won a bronze medal here, she was making everyone friendship bracelets that we've all been wearing all week, and she's gorgeous, and they're the best. And Rhiannon ran 2 PBs, you know, consecutive days over her 400, and to do that at a Paralympics is unbelievable. I think, you know, really thinking about best times at a games, there's this pressure of making it onto the podium, and so I think to be able to turn out in a row 2 of the best races you've ever run in your life is so impressive, and to be so composed while she was doing it, I'm so impressed with how she was able to do that. And we have so many young people on our team who are just unbelievable.
Yeah, and even like the athletes just like showed up, and they were competing against athletes that were like twice their age, and they still like made it to the finals. Like it's amazing.
It's absolutely unreal, and I think I'm so proud of this team for the way they turn up as people, and we're seeing, you know, when I was a young girl going through sport, I had no idea who I was, and I think to see these young girls coming through, these young women who are so sure of themselves and their identity, and they're so proud of who they are as women with disabilities. You know, I wasn't like that when I was 16, when I was 18, and it took me a long time to get to that point, and seeing them already being there, you know, it's so, I'm so optimistic of what the future of Paralympics looks like.
Well, they definitely see you being like so confident, and they look up to you, so thanks for being that, Madi. But thanks so much, it was nice to chat to you.
No, of course, thank you. Nice to chat to you too.
For more from Herway, visit herwaysportsmedia.substack.com.